All right, this is another edition of the 41 Jobs Podcast. Well, last week, let's keep playing the music. There we go. Boom. Last week was about my, hope I didn't lose any listeners with my political views and my crazy, weird thoughts about the world and what's going wrong with it. But I'll never run for president. But hopefully you enjoyed it. It's the 41 Jobs Podcast. Ian here with you. This podcast is going to talk about the crazy, ridiculous, stupid things I did when I was in college, which was really, a lot of them are really stupid and probably unbelievable, but I'm not going to tell you any lies. They all happened, and I probably won't tell you all of them either. There's a couple of them. There's probably statute limitations on what we did, and I don't really want to go to jail, so probably not going to talk about those. So if you're one of my buddies or listeners, you can come to me privately, and I'll tell you what they are. So I'm just not going to put it on the internet. I don't want to get in trouble. But I forgot to describe my American Orphan last week. I was talking about how I feel like people shouldn't adopt foreign kids, that we should adopt good old American orphans. Your meth-born American orphans, your Cheeto-eating, junk food eating, video game playing, no job future, no work ethic, good old American orphan that we'd all love to have. So when I tell you to adopt American Orphan, you probably don't want one of those. You'd probably rather have a good, well cultural raised Asian or Haitian or Jamaican. They know how to spell. The Chinese are already programmed to do well in school. I'm just joking. I don't believe in that. That's just cultural. That's not race. One race is not smarter than the other. It's just culture. So I'm just joking about that. That's just a nice little stereotype that doesn't really fit and doesn't really work. So, but I digress. But what we're going to talk about is, I'm going to set the scene for you. The early 90s. I'm going to college. I went to real small country high school and, didn't do a whole lot. My grandpa was kind of an alcoholic, He probably was. He was an alcoholic. And I really didn't do a whole lot of bad things in high school. I might have had a sip of beer one time when I was a senior, may have a puff of a cigarette one time when I was a senior. About made me sick, both of them, on both accounts. I didn't do a whole lot and didn't get any trouble. Wanted to follow the rules, wanted to be a good son and a good student. So I didn't do a whole lot. I didn't want to mess up my path to go to college. So I, was pretty much a goody two-shoes throughout high school. Got pretty good grades, always studied, tried to do what I was supposed to do. So, I commuted 1 year college, lived at home, and it just, I don't know, it was good, it was fine, but to do what I needed to do or what I thought I wanted to do, I had to transfer to a bigger university, so a large Midwestern university, so we can start it off like that. This is not a penthouse letter, but I went to a large Midwestern university, and I'm not going to tell you which one it is, and people who know me probably already know, but, I don't want to get myself into trouble. I'm sure those days are gone. It's been 21 years, pretty much, since I graduated. Actually, it was December 1995 when I graduated from college. So I go to this dorm. I enroll in school, and I'm in this dorm, and the first couple months, I hated it. I'm a mama's boy. I'm homesick. I'm like going, man, I don't know these people. These are weird people. They're new, and people I didn't. I roomed with a friend from high school, But he was real quiet. He didn't do a whole lot. And so I was ready to go home about the end of September. I was thinking I didn't want to go back, And then I was talking to a good buddy of mine, Chad, good buddy of mine, AJ, and Chad's parents were telling me, man, you don't want it, and they're big college people. Big rival. They went to the rival school of my college, and they were telling me to stick with it, and, stick with it. And I was like, I will. And when I got back, things just got better. Started getting along real good with my dorm mates and all that stuff, and it was pretty cool. But it was a rude awakening for somebody like me. So, you're sitting there, you start getting to know these people, and, you're starting to get a little bit more relaxed about, how you act and how you talk to people. And, got these just crazy things that happen. I mean, this dorm and all these guys are together and they're all, just, either freshman or sophomore, just coming right out of high school and not knowing too much how to act or how to behave with no adult supervision. And it just goes haywire from there. I mean, I was in a dorm one time, and this happened a lot, but you'd be sitting there watching TV, and there'd be somebody behind you setting their testicles right on your shoulder. You turn around, see a set of testicles on your shoulder. That happened to me once. Happened to one of my buddies. Couldn't believe it. A buddy of mine, still to this day, that lives in Evansville. He was known for that. That's just where it all starts. And that wasn't the stuff I did. That was just stuff that was done to me. It was like, oh my gosh, the stories you hear about college and how crazy people are, and the stuff, you think it's not true. Well, you just get ready to listen to this. But the early 90s, grunge was king. The Seattle music scene went kaboom. Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg had an album called The Chronic. And these were played on CDs, folks, not MP3s. But that's the kind of music we listen to. Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, and a bunch of grunge music. Pearl Jam, Soundgarden, Stone Temple Pilots, all those things. And that just brings back Smashing Pumpkins. All those groups' names just bring back memories of my college time. So just start off and the dorm stuff. Here's what happened in the dorm. So my first year, I was a sophomore because I transferred from a small commuter college. And my roommate from high school, real quiet guy, didn't socialize very much, but boy, he had a sneaky side to him. This roommate of mine, in high school was sneaky too. Real quiet, and teachers and kids would never guess this guy did the stuff he did. But some of the stuff my roommate did in high school, we'd have these assemblies, and he would get these, deer and heat little vials and skunk smell vials. I don't know where he got them, but you could get these vials, maybe at hunting stores. I don't know where he got them. But these little vials would smell just real concentrated odors of either deer pee or skunk smell. I think that's what it was, if I'm correct. And he'd break them, put them under the bleachers. It'd take a while to seep up, and we'd have these all-school convocations. And then we'd be sitting up at the bleachers, and the smell was just horrid, and it was awful. And then, it was just terrible. And then, for some reason, he'd sneak out, dial 911, leave the phone off the hook, and run and hide, and never get caught. And this was just when he was a junior, senior. And I remember he told me all about it. Of course, I wasn't going to tell anybody what happened. But that's just the start of it. And I didn't even think about that. But that was the roommate I knew, Mike. And I was from high school. And then college, he was so quiet. And he didn't want to be there. He wanted to go. He wanted to transfer. The only reason he went there was to get basketball tickets to the college that we went to or the university. And he just wanted to do that. But, once I got into school and started really getting into it, the thing that Mike and I did I'd hang out with people, and I was very social. I'd play basketball with people, and so did Mike. But Mike wasn't very friendly to other people he didn't know. Not friendly in a sense. He was just quiet and shy. Didn't want to talk to a lot of the people that lived in the dorm. But some of the stuff that Mike and I would do, oh, my gosh, it was horrible. Mike and I started getting acquainted to a couple guys in the floor below us and a couple guys on this floor. And they all grew up like we did. The guys that we kind of gravitated to were like rural Indiana kids. They were from western Indiana, and we were from northeastern Indiana. So they kind of grew up the same way we did, out in the country, kind of rural high school. So we really got along good with these guys, Bill and Brett and Rob. And these are just some of the names of the people we kind of hooked up with and stuff we did. So here's one of the first things. I remember the dumb things we did in college. Mike and I, kind of started it off just by, we poured. There was some guy that, that there was some rumor this guy was kind of a jerk that lived down the floor below us, and he lived next to Bill, and he was kind of a weirdo kind of guy, and we just didn't really like him too well. And this is horrible. I mean, the bullying prevention hotline should just be lighting up right now. But we poured soup, beef stew under this guy's door. The thing is with dorm doors, they always had a big, huge gap. You could pour water under them. You could put food under them. I mean, and it would just go right on the floor. But it was like a tile floor. It wasn't right into carpet. Just a little tile area, and we could put anything under those doors. And that was just the start of it. So that's pretty boring, but that's just stupid stuff that we did. It was idiotic, just pouring stuff under this guy's door. And then we just started getting more ideas about what's under that door, like shaving cream and putting it in a bag and, punching the bag, and the shaving cream goes all over the person's room. I mean, we tried that for a while. Then we got real aggressive. And Bill and Mike and I started thinking it was cool to have fireworks and messing around with fireworks and letting them off and running and not getting caught and either waking up the dorm, putting them in dumpsters or, I remember Bill had a 77, gun salute or Saturn missile, whatever box. I don't know if you're familiar with fireworks, but Bill set that off. And 77 really loud missiles of fireworks would come out, and we'd throw it in the dumpster and run off, and it'd make a huge noise in a dumpster. And we started getting a little bit more brave. So Mike and I rigged this thing up where we could let bottle rockets off. We had figured this way to let bottle rockets off underneath the doors. Like I told you, the dorm doors had a pretty big space underneath them. So we figured we rigged this thing up where we could set off bottle rockets underneath our door. So what we would do is we kind of time it. We kind of would see what some of the people's schedules were. Because in the morning in the dorm, we didn't have showers in our dorm. We just had restrooms and, restrooms that we had to share with the people next to us. Like there usually was gosh, I'm sorry. I'm yawning. It's like 1:30 in the morning, April 3rd, 2016. So I'm yawning. I don't know why I'm doing this at 1:30 in the morning. Probably because I don't want my daughter hearing this stuff that I did in college. I certainly don't want her doing it. I digress, but back to the dorm. Well, we'd rig this thing up where we would light bottle rockets off under the door. Like one of us would look out and make sure the RA or the, I don't know what you call it, but we called that a resident assistant. Basically, it's the guy who runs the dorm. And we make sure he wasn't looking. And guys took a shower because, like I said, there's no shower in our rooms. And guys would take a shower kind of generally about the same time on different days. Like with college schedule, you might have an early class on Monday, but not Tuesday. So we kind of knew the pattern of our friends and when they were going to go take a shower.